There's so many talented players in the portal already, including a new quarterback that's caused some buzz.
You are Locked On Auburn, your daily podcast on the Auburn Tigers. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Yes, welcome on into Locked On Auburn, your daily Auburn Tigers podcast. I'm your host, Zac Blackerby, and thank you so much for making Locked On Auburn your first listen every single day. We're dapping it up with the Darrell Dapprich, Montgomery radio legend. And Darrell, we've put together some lists of who our favorite players are in the portal. We only have one overlap, which is exciting. That kind of shows the amount of talent that's in the portal. But your most, I guess your favorite player on our list, or on your list rather, is former Duke quarterback Maalik Murphy.
Well, there's a couple of reasons. Number one, it's not a name I've heard until yesterday. I was shocked he jumped in the portal. We heard some of the, Jackson Arnold, Caden Salter, some of the names that have been kind of like, talked about before. Maalik Murphy is a guy I think Auburn was interested in when he was at Texas before he went to Duke. I think there was some interest there already. So the fact that he jumped in again really surprised me. And then I looked at his numbers. And again, this is a dude that played Power 5 football, played in the ACC, played against some good competition, threw for almost 3,000, threw right at 3,000 yards, 26 touchdowns. He's not a conventional runner, but I think he can run with escapability. If he needs to get out of the pocket, he can. He just looks like a natural fit at Auburn, and it's a name we did not hear that kind of came out of nowhere yesterday, or actually 2 days ago, that really kind of got me excited a little bit, kind of shocked me.
Yeah, the quarterbacks that are currently in the portal as we record this Tuesday evening, I'm higher on Caden Salter than almost everybody else is. So, I like Caden Salter a ton, but I do think I would put Maalik Murphy ahead of him. I like Maalik Murphy more than Jackson Arnold. I like Maalik Murphy more than, who else have we discussed to Auburn? The Mensa kid at Tulane. I like him more than Miller Moss, USC. So
Raiola, do you like him more than him as well?
Raiola?
Yeah.
Well, he's not in the portal. Right?
I thought he was. I thought I read somewhere that he was. Maybe I read a graphic that said he was planning to get into the portal, that he's not officially in yet. I thought I saw a graphic from somebody yesterday that said he was planning, and even planning a visit is what I thought I saw.
That'd be wild.
Yeah.
Quick Google search said that he shut down portal rumors.
Okay. That's what I saw then on the on Twitter, was that some people were reporting he was going to jump in the portal. And that's the thing. We're talking about guys that are actually in the portal, not rumored to be. So I'm glad you clarified that.
Yeah, and that list will change if some of these guys who are rumored enter there. But yeah, Maalik Murphy, I think, makes more sense than a lot of these other names. So we'll see. My favorite player in the portal right now, and the everydayers know this, I say this every second that I possibly can, Ahmad Hardy, the ULM running back. We saw him in Jordan-Hare Stadium earlier this year. I think the fit makes a ton of sense. I think Auburn should be a very attractive place for a transfer portal running back. In regards to, I think they're going to be able to promise playing time and say, hey, look at what Jarquez Hunter did, and we barely gave him the football. A little bit of sarcasm there. But I'm concerned that he's visiting Ole Miss before he's coming to visit Auburn.
Yeah, it's a good concern, because conventional wisdom with recruiting says the last visit's usually the one that's the most important. It makes the lasting impression. It's kind of flipped with portal recruiting, and case in point, we saw that with Auburn last year. There were 2 or 3 kids that went on a visit on a Thursday. We heard rumors that they were coming to Auburn for a visit on the weekend and canceled their visit and never showed up. They took that first visit and committed to the other school. That's a concern. Something else you just said, albeit funny and sarcastically, that concerns me is the quarterback or the running backs left in the room know what they're up against with this Hugh Freeze offense, and as far as touches. Isn't it a concern to you with the way Auburn used Jarquez Hunter? to try and go get a top-notch running back in the portal, a high-profile guy to come here, looking at how maybe Hunter might have been underutilized a little bit?
How is it not? How is it not? I mean, if you're Lane Kiffin and you're talking to Hardy whenever he comes to Oxford, I think that has to come up, right? It's like, well, I'm going to see what, Hugh Freeze and them say over at Auburn. He's like, well, they're not going to get you the football. They're not going to get you the football. Because if you're not going to give Jarquez Hunter the amount of touches he deserves, like, who's getting the touches if you're a running back? So, yeah, I do think it's a concern.
That might be an example, though, if the kid keeps his visit and Auburn gets the second visit, just like they were able to shut down the Hugh Freeze is, stepping away rumors when the kid got on campus. That might be an opportunity to say, oh, I don't care what they're telling you. That's not true. We're going to utilize you differently. This is going to be a different year with however they may have to kind of undo that. That's where maybe getting them back on campus and you have an opportunity to rebut that might be important.
Yeah, I agree with that. I agree with that 100%. All right. The second favorite player of mine in the portal is also your second favorite. Eric Singleton Jr., the wide receiver from Georgia Tech. The guy played all over the field in Georgia Tech's offense. He's dynamic. He's explosive. He's versatile. There's a few questions about Auburn's receiving core. And I think if you get a guy like this, it covers up a lot of these questions and say, hey, come in next to Cam Coleman. Let's hope Perry Thompson takes that step forward. Malcolm Simmons. I kind of see some similarities between the two of these guys. Like all of a sudden you feel really good about where you're at.
I read a report somewhere, and I hope I'm not 0 for 2 on remembering something. First of all, I know Auburn recruited him hard when he came out of high school, and it was close. I think he considered Auburn strongly. And I don't recall exactly who it is, but I think he is related to somebody that played at Auburn. There's a legacy thing there. But I think the kid, almost 800 yards, 8 touchdowns, dynamic. I did see where he was rated the top receiver in the portal as of right now. I don't,
some places have him as a top player in the portal.
Exactly. So listen, we are in a day and age where you could be watching a game live during a season and watch a kid and go, man, I wish he'd get in the portal and Auburn would get a chance to have him. Watching the Georgia game, that's the first thing that came to my mind was, man, this kid, I would love to see him in orange and blue. And sure enough, he jumps in the portal. There's some Auburn connections. I know that Auburn was in on him last year, was a finalist, however you want to, word that. And so I think that'd be a really interesting get. And I think it'd be a perfect fit to complement the Freeze 4, the Simmons, like you said, the Perry Thompsons, the Cam Colemans. If Kane starts to emerge, I would really, really like that kind of wide receiver room. Because say what you want. And I love the receivers that are coming back. KLS still leaves a hole. The way he played, there's still a void there that needs to be filled. And a guy like Singleton could fill that void.
Yeah. I mean, how much is that a discussion where it's like, look at what we did with KLS a year ago, even though they're not really the same type of player? Do you think that matters?
That they're not the same type of player, or what we did with KLS last year?
Well, what we did with KLS, because I'm sure that's going to get brought up.
I think it absolutely matters.
Okay.
Because up until last year, the narrative was Auburn is a place where receivers go to die. They just don't. They don't develop them. They're not in the league. What was it? Darvin Adams Anthony Schwartz was the last one. It was Williams. It just had that reputation. And finally, you see a guy prosper and flourish. It helps you. It's a bullet in your gun, so to speak.
Yeah, I think you're right. So we'll see. All right, we each have 2 more players that are among our favorites of all the players in the transfer portal, and they're a good fit at Auburn. That's next, right here on Locked On Auburn. Today's show brought to you by our friends at FanDuel. FanDuel is America's #1 sports book. Darrell Dapprich, you can bet $5 and get $150 in bonus bets if that first $5 bet hits. I mean, that's insane. That is absolutely insane.
You know what that's called? Christmas money, Christmas presents.
I think you're right. You're right.
Really, that's 3 or 4 more Christmas presents you could put under the tree for somebody.
Yeah, that's a stocking that you don't have to worry about. Yeah,
not a stocking stuffer, a big time presence, right?
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Yeah.
The FanDuel Sportsbook app gives you everything you need to place live bets on the NFL, college football, the NBA, all in one place. And you can get started with $150 in bonus bets if you win that first $5 bet. That's over at FanDuel.com. Today's show is also brought to you by our friends at Alumni Hall. You talking about Christmas gifts. Can you imagine buying Auburn gear anywhere other than our friends at Alumni Hall?
I love the fact, and I took advantage of this. I have a good friend that lives out in Arizona that loves Auburn gear. You can get anything on the internet, but he doesn't have to pay for it. I shot him an email gift certificate. You open it up. It's got the barcode on it. You can use it with the number to order online. Now he can get some good stuff, some authentic stuff from Alumni Hall, and he doesn't have to open up his wallet.
Yep. And of course, they've got 3 great physical locations as well. One in Opelika, it's in Tigertown, one in Auburn on College Street, and one in Huntsville, which you've been there. I've never been there, but apparently it's fantastic.
It's nice.
Our everydayers have let us know. And of course, you can go online at alumnihall.com. Thank you so much to Alumni Hall for partnering with Locked On Auburn. Thank you so much for making Locked On Auburn your first listen every single day. Darrell, my third favorite player in the portal right now is Bauer Sharp, the tight end from Oklahoma. And this is a guy where Oklahoma's offense was a total disaster a year ago. It was a total disaster. I'm sure that's why Jackson Arnold into the portal and all that stuff. Nobody was really set up to succeed. And honestly, it kind of feels like Auburn's offense at times a year ago. Bauer Sharp was a guy who was asked to be the number 1 option in the passing attack. And I don't know if he's that kind of guy. I don't know if he needs to be the number 1 option in a passing attack. But I think if he were to come to Auburn and be the 4th or 5th option in a passing attack, I think that would be a tremendous fit in a tight end room where they need some veteran guys and some production and some athleticism. I think it would be an awesome fit if Bauer Sharp, the tight end from Oklahoma, ended up in Auburn's portal class.
Yeah, I think that, first of all, a guy that's your 4th or 5th option is not going to get double covered. I think he's going to be one-on-one with some linebackers because they're going to be worried about Coleman and some other guys. So I think he would eat in this offense. And Auburn needs at least 2 tight ends. I mean, you've got Rico Walker and now Brandon Frazier coming back, 2 different types of tight ends. I think you need that prototypical pass-catching tight end. And I still think Auburn needs to go get a run-blocking tight end that they can use in heavy packages down on the goal line. But Sharp fits the prototypical catch pass, a guy that catches passes as far as a tight end, a good pass catching tight end. And again, if you've got guys like Coleman and Simmons and whoever else Auburn might bring in, and Perry Thompson, he'll get open, especially in the middle of the field with linebackers. He could really flourish in an offense where he's the 4th option.
Yeah, I think so too. Who's your 3rd favorite player in the portal right now?
Darrell Robinson. And it's a running back. And if Auburn doesn't get Hardy, I think Darrell Robinson is a really nice pickup. This is a kid that has played 2 years at UConn. They list him on the website as a redshirt freshman, but his stats showed for 2 years, 23 and 24. He had 7 yards a carry. Stop me if you've heard that before. Yeah. Averaged 7 yards a carry, 800 yards, 8 touchdowns. Man, that good, a lot of production. Now, I get it. UConn was playing some little lesser competition, but still, I think it's a kid that when you didn't get the 2nd running back as of now in the recruiting class, you've got Alvin, who you would expect to come in and have an impact. You've still got Cobb and Alston. Even if everybody stayed, I still think you need another back to make that room deep, and because you lost your best running back. So you got to have that guy that's got experience. 800 yards isn't nothing to sneeze at.
Yeah, and another thing, like, follow the offers and follow, who this coaching staff is trying to host. Like, they clearly want a running back. And so that either says they think someone is leaving, or they do need an extra scholarship running back going into next season. That's how they've evaluated this roster. And clearly that's a position that they are valuing and being aggressive on during this transfer portal window. So I think that's important. My fourth guy is Zachariah Poiser. He is a defensive back from Jack State. And I talked about him a ton on the bonus episode yesterday with our buddy Ben Taylor, but played a ridiculous amount of snaps on defense a year ago. And he played at a bunch of different positions, nickel, safety, in the box. And this is a guy who's got the size that if they want to bulk him up a little bit and bring him inside the box more consistently, they can. He's got the athleticism, and he's fairly rangy, especially for his size. He was the second highest graded player on Jack State's defense, according to Pro Football Focus a year ago. There's nothing to dislike about this kid. I'm a huge fan of Poiser, and it sounds like he's going to be in the SEC. It's either going to be his visits right now are scheduled to be Auburn, Florida, and LSU.
Yeah, and think about this. With Offord not committing or signing with Auburn, I think the defensive backfield and corner took a notch up as far as urgency in my mind. I had it a little bit lower on the totem pole, thinking that Auburn was going to get Offord.
Sure,
when they did not, again, K.M. Lee, Crawford hold that down. It'd be nice to have somebody inside. What if Lee or Crawford can't go? Are you relying on then, Scott, Champ Anthony, guys coming off injuries? I think you need one that can come and play meaningful snaps right away. And this kid would fit that bill rather nicely.
Yeah, I think so too. All right, who's the last guy on your list?
Last guy on my list, Phoenix Jackson, linebacker
Incredible.
from Fresno State. 6'1", 215, but I read some scouting reports on him. He had a lot of tackles for loss. He has some interceptions. He is a true cover linebacker. That's
Sure.
He's not necessarily a thumper, but he is a guy that's athletic and gets it done in coverage and in space. For instance, let's say you've got a tight end who is eating you alive and you're playing and you cannot, or a slot. This guy can cover tight ends. He's good in space. He's very quick. I love him. I mean, his tape, is pretty good when you go watch his film. And again, I think Auburn, to get a running back that can run like that and can be so good in coverage, especially in the SEC with some athletic tight ends, I think that'd be a linebacker. It would be really nice.
Yeah. I love his stats and numbers in coverage, which is a little unusual for a linebacker. I think that would be, a guy in third and long. I think that's a guy you want on the field, especially when you don't fully know the development of what some of these other guys are going to be. Like, we all assume DeMarcus Riddick's going to take that step forward. We all assume we're going to see more of DJ Barber, but he's going to probably be more of a thumper if he were to play more this year. So I do think this gives you a little bit of flexibility moving forward, which is everything you can ask for. So
Melendez too, thumper, right? I mean, that's a guy Auburn's not going to have to worry about having guys that are physical linebackers at the point of attack. This would be a nice little, counterpoint on that with a linebacker that does well in coverage.
Yeah, I agree with you. I agree with you 100%. What's the likelihood of Auburn signing these guys? Let's jump into that in just a moment, right here on Locked On Auburn. Today's show is brought to you by our friends at Omaha Steaks. Darrell, I heard from a source that you hit up Omaha Steaks very recently.
Just yesterday. I had
to,
had the code, hit them up, got a real nice multi-pack with a lot of different variety of meats and cuts and desserts and potatoes. It was just perfect. And it was a Christmas gift. So the timing was perfect. And I knew it was coming. So I was able to utilize that code and take advantage of that.
Yeah. I mean, how many times do you hear, like, I don't know what to get so-and-so? Omaha Steaks, baby. Right now at omahasteaks.com, like, they've got like 50% off site wide. And if you use the code that Darrell's talking about, which is just college, promo code college, COLLEGE, you get an extra $30 off your order over at Omaha Steaks. So check it out. It's certainly worth your attention and your consideration. omahasteaks.com. Use promo code college. Darrell, when you look at your list, your top four guys that consist of Duke quarterback Maalik Murphy, Georgia Tech wide receiver Eric Singleton Jr., UConn running back Darrell Robinson, and Fresno State linebacker Phoenix Jackson. Which of those guys do you think Auburn is most likely to sign in this portal class?
Singleton.
Yep. Of those 4 guys, if I could pick for Auburn to sign one, it would be Singleton. I agree with you.
Yeah.
I'm not concerned because I think it's interesting and I have faith in what Will Redmond and Hugh Freeze are doing in this portal window. But it's fascinating to me how quick they got Singleton on campus, which he's on campus today, Wednesday, and they don't have their quarterback locked down yet, or at least
publicly. Yeah. See, that makes me optimistic, not concerned.
If Singleton pops today or tomorrow while he's on his visit and he doesn't go anywhere else and he commits to Auburn, I mean, you got to think that the quarterback situation is coming and then it's all but done at that point.
Yeah, and it gives me reason for optimism to know that a stud receiver like this is coming on campus when Auburn doesn't publicly have a quarterback and 2 just left to jump in the portal. There's something going on there behind the scenes that he's probably been assured, or there's some assurance that, hey, we have our guy, come on and play with him. Right. And so
that would mean so much. I'm shocked that you said his name. I'm going to be 100% honest. I'm surprised by this.
That I said Singleton. Yeah. I don't know. I mean, look, I've been wrong before. I was wrong a lot of times during the season with my predictions on who was going to win football games that Auburn played in. But sure, I've just been hearing some buzz about connections and familial ties and things that, doesn't mean, but Auburn's in it and they're in it strong. Are they going to win out at the end? I don't know, but they are very, very much a player, so much to the point where I think other schools are worried about Auburn signing this kid just as much as Auburn would be worried about other places. So yeah, I think the KLS factor is one, Zach, that we don't need to underestimate. If this was last year, although last year you got him. I mean, you got KLS last year, right? So,
but he's visiting Ole Miss. So, I mean, they create productive receivers like it's nothing.
Right.
And then the other one is Georgia. That's kind of the latest place that he's going to visit. And it's like, well, I don't know. If he were to pop to Auburn quickly, I think that says a ton. I think it says a ton. So
those are two teams. Yeah, those are 2 schools that put guys in the league. There's no doubt. But Texas A&M was all but had KLS last year, and yet Auburn was able to do what they needed to do to sell him on that. So I think that, there's a pretty good shot. We'll see.
All right. So as we're recording this, news breaking or reports surfacing now that Maalik Murphy will visit Auburn this week. So there you go. I would move him up towards the top of my list now.
Is that smile on my face taking up the whole screen? Because I did not know that until this is kind of like the Jamonta Waller news break we got during the basketball game that time. Remember?
That was wild.
Or was it Amaris Williams? It was one of the 2.
It was Amaris.
Yeah, it was Amaris. He flipped while we were doing a basketball game.
Yeah, that was fun.
Listen, that excites me. That's timely. That's very timely. Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So we'll see. We'll see what that means. This afternoon show will be interesting because we'll have more info on the Singleton visit and more info on Murphy too. So very fun stuff. Very, very fun stuff. This could be a very crucial and massive few weeks for Hugh Freeze and the Auburn Tigers. Darrell, how can people check out everything that you've got going on?
Follow me on X, Dap6410, Instagram, Darrell Dapp, Wednesdays and Fridays with you, and then also live basketball recaps. Right when the game's over, we go live and interact, have a great time.
Yep. Hey, please like the video. Please subscribe. We're less than 50 subscribers away from 20,000. Help us get there by the end of the year. We really, really appreciate it. Until next time, this has been Locked On Auburn.